I was thinking, what better way to, or what better day to hoist that old flag for the first time on this old place in a while than Memorial Day. You're always talking about junk boxes and things you throw away, and I went pretty hardcore about clearing it out, but I'm not a MacGyver, but I use what I got. I'll show y'all some of that here in a minute. So I found a couple old poles that were for different purposes than what they're doing today, but I brought this flag with me that's designed to go, on the normal escutcheon on the side of the house. Didn't have that. Couldn't find it in the right jump box. So I took these old poles and put them together and strapped her up to something my uncle built for my grandma late in her years. That thing's sturdy, little handrail, and put it up. I think that was a good move today, as I think about Memorial Day and all the heroes that have passed on, whether on the field or just from life. But I had a good day on the old place today. I've been talking about that garden plot, and been fighting tooth and nail to get it mowed. We got that done, and sometimes you got to use what you got. Been sitting on the porch and walking around. Hey Susan, how are you? Hey Donna. And thinking, man, I got to get that garden in. I'd walk around in a circle like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? So we got it mowed, and that's what gave me of course, Dad brought his mower up, and we got all that stuff knocked down. And a little bit shady out here in the evening, but we've got about 6 or 7 hours of good morning sun on this little patch. Now, I had big, big plans, but probably didn't have the budget for it anyway, so it worked out. Got that old pickaxe. The thing about this dirt is it's just that good sandy loam, I guess. It breaks up so easy. And got out here this morning and started on that pickaxe, and I was like, well, this is going to take a little while. That old nut grass, it ain't bad. But this ground's been broke before, but it's been a while. But I went and visited with my aunt to get a little garden rake. It's kind of limited on tools. And she had an old hand plow, I guess. I guess it looks like an old bike wheel and a couple of handles. But you talk about making some short work. A little half blade. I did make a homemade tiller yesterday out of some implements that I found. That didn't work out, so I scrapped that plan. It might work on this soft dirt, but I'm almost too embarrassed to even show that one to you. But I'll show you what we did today. Jordan got out here, and that was good to be working. Thanks, Donna. Good to be working alongside him this afternoon. But that right there took care of most of the work today. You can see that old pick shining and busting that old. I don't wear gloves normally out here for whatever reason, but had an old blister pop up on a couple of my hands today with this old wooden handle, so I had to put on some gloves. But that did it right there. May not look like much, but it made this look like that. How about that? Pretty cool. Just goes to show, though, that if you want to get it done, you'll get it done. Sitting there talking about it and thinking about it and wishing it happened, I don't get it done. Now, it was, you look at that like, man, that's hard work. Golly, that had to be tough. But I could not help, and I'll tell you all the story here in a minute, share a little personal story, but couldn't help with every time I swung that pickaxe and busted a little old bitty patch of ground and pulled up that nut grass and that old dirt. There's a lot of boys and men that died on a foreign battlefield on dirt that wasn't native to them. Laid it all down so I can swing that pickaxe. And I'll promise you, don't even have to ask them, maybe one day I'll get to. They'd have traded it all to be able to be back home and busting any piece of ground with a pickaxe. So, hard work? Nah. Not compared to what they did. Knowing that they were the next one in line on that beach in Normandy, knowing that their brothers had fallen ahead of them and they were just the next bullet coming down the path, and yet they did it. So that made that work a little easier today. Truly did. I was thinking about my great-granddad I don't talk about my paternal side as much, being as this place is my maternal side, but equally as influential. My great-granddad on that side, he served in World War I. His name was Perry Edward, where I got my middle name. And he was in France, got a commendation from the higher-ups. That was before radio. He was small frame like I was, and passed before I even knew him. And he was a runner. He would run behind enemy lines with messages to the soldiers. That's pretty amazing. He didn't die in battle, thank goodness. He served his time and came back home to southeast Texas to continue to raise the family that propagated me and my generations as well. But thought about him today, a little extra. My granddad served in World War II, James Edgar. And man, get chills thinking about the influence he's had on my life. As he aged, I was blessed to talk with him every Wednesday. He lived in Florida in his later years, and we talked every Wednesday, and it'd get a heated discussion about politics or religion or something, and he was an old world history teacher and really guided me in some good paths there. He served in World War II and had a lot of beginning of the radar technology. And then my dad, and if I could be 10% of the man he is, I'd be in good shape. But he served his time pre-Vietnam. Thank goodness he got out just after his service, before all that mess happened. God bless those soldiers that gave it all there. Some of them not even by choice. But probably wouldn't be here today if he'd had to serve in that time. But big lineage of military service on my paternal side. It stopped with me. Not because I didn't want to go. In fact, it was quite the opposite. I had a heart operation by a world-renowned surgeon, Dr. Cooley, when I was about 4 years old. Had a K-aortation of the aorta and wouldn't get any blood in my legs. I'm sure that was panicky for my parents. Now that I have children, I can only imagine. But clean bill of health, got a little Dacron patch on me, hey Margaret, and grew up fine. Well, I didn't grow way up, but anyway, healthy, never had any problems. Ran track in high school. Signed up for the delayed entry program in 1988. And that was pre-Gulf Storm. Made a 98 on my ASVAB. I had my course set. I'm going to be a helicopter pilot and come out and join the Forest Service and live happily ever after 30-something years. God had other plans. So they denied me my physical based on my past medical history. That was back when they didn't need anybody pre-Gulf War. And had to write my senators and gave me a rubber stamp physical. Still couldn't do it. So it kind of set me back and knocked me off my rocker for about 3 or 4 years, if not longer, knowing how bad I wanted to serve and continue that service, and couldn't do it. But now with age and time, I see God had a different path. And I embrace it. Heck, knowing how I am with these bushes and these brambles, I'd probably been the first one down, and y'all have been having Memorial Day for me today. The way I run into things. So I guess God knew a little bit better. Hey Pamela, how are you? But man, I'm proud of what we got accomplished today on this little old garden plot, and got some work to do in Huntington tomorrow, so we'll be off the place. Jordan's going to tackle some chickens in the morning, literally. Go from out there to in there in the freezer, and so proud to see him step up and do that. But I hope y'all have honored. Hey Raylynn, how are you? From Oklahoma. Hope y'all have celebrated today, celebrated freedom. At the same time, thought about those sacrifices. There's no need to be somber about it. I guarantee they wouldn't want you to be, but do celebrate the price that was paid for us, for our freedoms and liberty. No sense in us squandering it, right? Yes, ma'am, I am. Thank you, Michelle. Let's see, I guess I need to go back and say hello. I've been around. Hey, Linda, how are you? Brenda's on. All right, well, thank y'all all for checking in and watching a little progress. I did get the, boy, like I said, it hurt to do it, but I had to, sometimes the pruner's got to get after it. So I got that old wisteria vine knocked back, and there's a beautiful little oak tree in the midst of it. So long-term plans, believe me, there's enough vines left over that I chopped that wisteria will be back with no trouble. And we'll groom it a little bit better this time and maybe make a little arbor out here on front. That's kind of what my plans are. Let that oak tree get big and strong like it needs. Boy, it was getting choked. But you gotta break a few eggs to make a cake every now and then, don't you? So that's what we're doing. It looks a little bare and stripped at times here, but I know it's all for a better plan and new growth. It'll be even better than before, right? Oh, do I? Now, that's a big compliment. That is a big compliment. I guarantee if Uncle Nathan was still with us, he'd be right up here, right over my shoulder telling me how to get this done, and I would cherish every second of it. Yep, that man loved his mother too. There wasn't a day I could remember when I lived with her after high school that he didn't stop and check on his mama. Good stuff. Well, I'm gonna let y'all go. Enjoy your evening, the remnants of this Memorial Day observance. And hope y'all have a blessed week. Make a difference and be the light. We'll catch up with y'all tomorrow, and maybe we'll have that other little patch in the middle knocked out. How's that? All right, y'all be blessed. Have a good night.